Good evening. Is this a key moment in the pandemic? Government scientists on SAGE are now forecasting that more people will die of COVID over the winter than perished in the first wave. It sounds stark and shocking, but are we shocked? And if so, are we shocked enough to accept severe restrictions on our freedoms and to abide by them, even if they last over the festive season? The number of dead reported today, 367, is stubbornly high. So are the various systems of tiers across the nations simply fighting a forest fire with a water pistol? France and Germany are going full pelt into new lockdowns. And is it now inevitable that the UK will follow suit? Here's our political editor, Nick Watt.
A call to arms. A murderous second wave is underway, and so time for a stringent national lockdown.
J'ai décidé qu'il fallait retrouver, à partir de vendredi, le confinement qui a stoppé le virus.
Clear echoes of France's first wave as travel restrictions return, but there are differences. This one will initially last for 5 weeks, and schools and essential workplaces will remain open. Some of the toughest measures in Europe, as Germany, for long a model in handling the virus, also announced a dramatic tightening of restrictions.
Deshalb ist vollkommen klar, wir müssen handeln, und zwar jetzt.
The new measures by such close neighbours will intensify pressure on Boris Johnson to toughen restrictions on this side of the Channel. The UK is, after all, projected to be a few weeks behind France. And the Scientific Advisory Group for Emergencies is warning that the second wave could last longer than the first. In the spring, the UK daily death rate quickly shot up to just over 1,000 a day before slowly coming down. Since September, deaths have been on the up again, and now scientists fear they will rise to 500 a day by mid-November. The numbers could then plateau.
We're already seeing a steady increase in infections, hospitalizations and deaths, but at a far slower rate than we saw in March, maybe doubling every 2 to 3 weeks. But it is carrying on in spite of the measures that have taken place. So this is going to carry on increasing. It's quite plausible that it will carry on really throughout the winter. I think it's going to look much more like a bad flu season, which is spread over the whole of the winter rather than being enormously packed in like the first wave of this epidemic.
A significant moment for Boris Johnson, as his own scientists warn of the potency of the second wave. And political pressure too, after the EU's two mighty powers introduce nationwide measures. Downing Street is watching developments across the Channel with care. But for now, the Prime Minister believes that targeted regional restrictions are the best approach over here.
We need to look carefully at what other nations are doing, but recognising that this government is up against it once again. But we need to learn lessons from that first time round, understand that there may be a circuit breaker or another lockdown, but actually we're keeping more people alive at the moment, there's medicines available, we're all more disciplined in what we're doing. And what I'd like to see is not an exit strategy as such, that won't come until we have a vaccine. What we need is a plan for 6 months. We're going to have a tough winter, there's no doubt about it. We need a plan to take us to March. That must include keeping the economy alive, looking at clever ways of allowing us to go about our business.
Labour believes the new restrictions on the continent highlight weaknesses in Number 10's COVID response.
I think, again, it shows that Boris Johnson is behind the coronavirus curve. He should have used this half-term for a short time-limited circuit break here in the United Kingdom, in England, to get on top of the virus, to save lives, to stop the NHS being overwhelmed. And the fear now is that because he's dithering, because he's delaying, that he'll be forced into a longer, deeper lockdown later next month or in December. Again, it's because Boris Johnson, like in the spring, has been too slow to act.
An eerie silence befell the City of Lights in the first lockdown, and now a return to those dark days.